It's Tuesday, and it's time to take you behind the scenes of home building and remodeling with tips, insight, and expert advice to make your project smoother.
Ooh, it's time to ask the contractor.
Welcome back to Lucas Stensland. He is our general contractor and owner of H1 Construction. Are we ready, family?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's talk cheap. because we're all trying to save a buck here, my brother. But when it comes to building and renovating, the cheapest option up front is often not the best in the long run. And why is that?
Usually in the end, a project is going to land where it's going to land, right? So if somebody comes in at the cheapest bid, and that project is going to be $100,000 more than that, I can tell you that contractor is not going to go into his own pocket, right? He's either going to walk away from the project at some point, which is going to end up costing everybody a lot more money, ending up in court and all these other things, or the client is usually have their back to the wall and they are going to need to pay out in order to keep the construction flowing, right? Now, I want to make sure that I'm clear. I don't think people do this necessarily maliciously, but it happens, when you don't have an accurate bid. Let's say you start off with a set of drawings that aren't exactly clear. Well, then that contractor, it's his job to say, hold on, let's take a time out here. Let's really focus on this information that I'm receiving, because I can't really give you an accurate bid off of what you've given here. I can give you an estimate, right? Again, and it always circles back to that first, you're hiring your team. You should not be in a situation where you're getting 3 bids on that project. You should already have your budget established and what that budget is going to allow you to build. So I just think it's important to just drive home the fact that it's your team in the upfront that you trust and can navigate with and have a good conversation with, and just be realistic is the ultimate goal.
I like that. Then we leaning on the team and the team captain. So really should we be talking about is, instead of the cheapest option is quality, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's also about informing. I don't think there's necessarily, well, there's cheap for sure. You can get a $200 faucet, say from Costco or Home Depot, that's plastic, and you go into Ferguson's and get the same stainless steel one for $600 more, but one is plastic chrome and the other one is stainless steel. One's going to last you a really long time. I wouldn't call the first one necessarily cheap. I would call it probably budget friendly, right? But it's my job to inform the client of the difference of those two, not just unilaterally say, yeah, we're going to save $400 right here.
Up front.
Up front, yeah. But they say there's 30,000 decisions that go into one house, right? I'm there for every one of them, and your team should always be there for every one of them. That way, when that faucet, that $200 faucet fails in 2 years, you can say, H1, Luke told me, he told me I'm going to be replacing it, right? Not like, this guy, he put in this cheap faucet. So it's just important to understand the client is always in the driver's seat of what's being spent.
I really like that you say that, because I was about to ask the question, well, how do you balance that fine, it's that fine line, right, between getting something that's quality and really good and long lasting, but at a good price. Yeah. But I prefer to circle back to that thought that you had there, that the client is in the driver's seat. And I think that when it comes to building a home, because we don't know how to build a home, I know how to open up the front door and I know how to live in it, but I don't know how to build it, that I automatically tend to not put myself in the driver's seat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. I tend to put the contractor in the driver's seat, or the architect. I would expect them to take that. But I love that you are saying that it should be me. It should be me in that driver's seat making the decisions and surrounding myself with a great navigator, and 2 good people in my back seat, right?
Backseat drivers.
That are going to help me along. And that's pretty much what you've been saying all along, right?
Absolutely.
That team.
Yeah. It's really important that, and when I say you're in the driver's seat, you're not out there making the drawings and doing these things, but we're informing you. If I'm informing you of 3 different decisions you need to make, I'm giving you the good, better, best, or concessions you're making by going with one thing that's more budget friendly or not, and you're making the decision whether you want to spend on the upgrades and why, right? So I'm there to, as you said, be a backseat driver, but ultimately, I want you, and it's important I'll always emphasize the shell, your roofing, your windows, your exterior siding. Everything else is just a facade. Doesn't matter. Cabinets, like whatever. There's always going to be expensive to replace, but if you build that foundation strong enough, it's going to be there for 100+ years, and you can replace all those other things while that you've put all your budget into the shell itself. You're in good shape.
I like that. That is so awesome. We're learning so much. Great information. You can, by the way, get your questions in if you have any so that we can make sure we get you the answers you need in next week's segment of Ask the Contractor. You can send those questions in at h1constructionhawaii.com/ask. Thank you, brother.
You got it. Happy to be here.
How many times can we use appreciation in a sentence? But I really do. I really appreciate Lucas Stensland from H1 Construction. By the way, if you got any questions, send them over to us right now so we can get you those answers in next week's segment of Ask the Contractor. H1constructionhawaii.com/ask.